Music is often referred to as the universal language and is an integral part of all human cultures. Making, listening to, and sharing music can be very powerful experiences with the ability to enrich our lives, and technology is an important part of all of these processes. Before we look at technology and current music, it's helpful to step back just a few decades and get a brief historical background on modern music. By the late 1960s, most musicians had made the switch from acoustic to electric. Already established artists began incorporating new electronic elements into their music. The mellotron was featured heavily on the Beatles' single Strawberry Fields Forever, and helped shape the sound of famous albums like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Magical Mystery Tour, and their White Album. The Fab Four had been introduced to the instrument by a member of another English band, the Moody Blues' Mike Pinder. The Moody Blues' music heavily incorporated the mellotron, and the instrument was a large part of their success. The theremin was utilized in recording sessions by artists such as the Rolling Stones, and Led Zeppelin's Jimmy Page used it in live performances. This instrument is what gave the Beach Boys' classic Good Vibrations its signature sound. Many artists who emerged during this time and became popular in the 70s, such as Pink Floyd, employed a battery of electronic elements in their music. Pink Floyd in particular are well known for their extensive experimentation with sound effects. The Moog modular synthesizer was made famous by the 1968 Wendy Carlos album Switched on Bach. Throughout the course of the 1970s and 80s, it gradually replaced the bulkier, less portable, and much more expensive mellotron. Along with the sampler, the synthesizer was employed by electronic music artists such as Duran Duran and Depeche Mode, and also had an influence on other genres. For example, from 1982 to 1989, Canadian progressive rock band Rush went through a drastic stylistic change in which the synthesizer became the focus of their music instead of the guitar and bass it had previously complemented. These new technologies even allowed musicians to create a new genre through experimentation. Manipulation of vinyl records on turntables and use of the sampler gave birth to hip-hop. Today, while synthesizers and samplers are still quite popular, some genres of music, such as dubstep, can now be completely computer-generated. This makes it possible for an average person to create their own music without needing to purchase many pieces of expensive equipment. For example, the very popular electronic music artist Skrillex recorded his EP in his own apartment using just his laptop. The instruments and technologies used to create music are not the only things that have changed over the years. The way music is recorded and shared has changed drastically as well. The vinyl record was a popular music medium starting in the 1950s, the most common formats being the 12-inch LP and the 7-inch single. Today, vinyl is largely unused as a means of listening to music, but it is still created and sold for the very strong niche markets of audiophiles, record collectors, and DJs. The former believe that the sound quality of vinyl records is superior to that of more recent mediums, and many of the latter want to be able to manually manipulate a record on a turntable. In 1963, the compact cassette emerged, and in 1979, the Sony Walkman, a tape player a little larger than a cassette itself, made it possible for people to listen to an audio cassette just about anywhere through the use of headphones. Many people preferred cassettes to records because of their portability. By the 1990s, the sale of cassette tapes declined as it was cheaper to produce compact discs and compact disc players with good audio quality than tapes and tape players with good audio quality. Compact discs, or CDs, had come on the scene in the mid-80s and are still produced today. What was so different about these two mediums was that they allowed people to share music with others by creating mixtapes and mix CDs. The creation of the MP3 file has allowed for even quicker and worldwide sharing of music through peer-to-peer file sharing, torrenting, and music websites like SoundCloud. This makes it possible for people to share the music they've created in their own home with people they've never met without needing a record contract. It has also complicated the economic and business side of the music industry by removing a form of music from its control and bringing up a whole host of copyright problems. Why is the topic of music and technology even important? Well, according to well-known musician and producer Brian Eno, technology is the name we give to things that don't work yet. When it works, we don't call it that anymore. For example, the electric guitar, one of the most important and widely used instruments in current music, was once a piece of very new technology. The improvement upon the initial crude models over the years shaped the development of modern music, sparking the creativity and innovation of musicians. Technology is what drives the creation of new music, and its impact on one of the oldest art forms in the world cannot be overstated.